What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Dillian, the body snatcher Whyte. Dillian Whyte labels David Haye the biggest bully in boxing. Okay, let me give you guys a backstory about this, actually. Dillian Whyte says that he's always wanted to fight David Haye because he was the top guy at the time, and obviously when you're coming up as a young fighter, you aspire to fight the guys at the top. Okay, he said, I wanted to fight him to see how good I was and to see how well I fare against him. I always believed I could have beaten him. Okay, he says, if you go back and look at my Twitter feed, I've been calling David Haye out for a long time, long before he fought Bellew. When he fought Arnold Gerjaj, I was trying to get him from then. He must have had seen something that he thought he couldn't beat, or maybe he knew that I'm tough and I'm strong and I'm physical and I was hungry. He says, when you believe that you can beat someone, you know deep down you can beat someone, it makes you dangerous and you approach the fight with a different mindset and mentality. And he knows it. Of course, Haye had accused Whyte of poorly timed challenge, saying maybe Whyte is the type of guy who sees the weak guy. Derek Chisora goes after the toughest guy. And he said, I always wondered why he called me out coming out of the ring, busted up and concussed. That, for me, says a lot about Dillian Whyte. So when Dillian Whyte heard this, he said, David Haye is the biggest bully in the whole boxing scene. He also said the guy has conned his way through his boxing career, ducking and dodging and picking fights, saying stuff and belittling people to get fights made. There's a lot of fights that he could have had that he didn't have, even as a cruiserweight. Interesting. Now, this spiraled from maybe a week ago when David Haye was actually criticizing Dillian Whyte for calling him out after he retired, because, this is now supposedly new news to David Haye, but Dillian Whyte assured him that it wasn't new news. It isn't new news. It's old news that he wanted to fight David Haye long ago. Me personally, I never heard Dillian Whyte call out David Haye. But David Haye was a top guy once upon a time, and he retired at one point, but then he came back to the sport when he came back with the fro. He went from the braids to the fro, and then from the fro, after that, he had to go because Tony Bellew said so. Right. So, back to Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte called him a big bully because he conned his way through boxing or whatnot. And I know a lot of people wanted to fight Haye, but I can say this. When he went up against Vladimir Klitschko, he couldn't do anything with him. He couldn't do anything with him. Fellow Libra, he's 40 years of age. He's younger than Povetkin, to say the least, right? But I don't think he's anywhere near fighting shape. So I don't really see there's any truth to everything. Let's see who he fought. He lost to Tony Bellew twice, back to back. Arnold Gerjaj, I'm not saying that right, but that was back in 2016 when he fought him. So from 2016 to 2018, Dillian Whyte claims he's been calling him out for 2 years. So if that's the case, I don't know how that responded, because even in 2016 and 18, that's still, Dillian Whyte was making a name for himself, especially when he beat Chisora. Now, when he beat Chisora, and that was a long time ago. Okay, he beat him back in 2012. That was a while ago. However, Dillian Whyte knocked out Chisora in 2018. So, and then, of course, Dillian Whyte was making a name for himself through then, beating guys like Carlos Takam and, Caballel, right? Dillian, I'm sorry, that was Dillian Whyte's record, but Dillian Whyte himself took out Derek Chisora. So, it's one of those things. It's like me counterpunching these two guys. They've had beef for a while, and this will only be back and forth talk because David Haye's not coming back to the ring. I don't see that happening. Dillian Whyte should focus on Povetkin. But then again, Dillian Whyte doesn't like anyone to talk any scared business to him, right? So I think this is where it ends. Now, did Dillian Whyte take easy touches? Absolutely not. The only thing I would replace, I didn't want to see Derek Chisora too. But that's just me personally because, I'm not British. So I don't, I know he fought a hard-earned fight with Derek Chisora. That should have been late. He should have fought Ortiz at that time. That would have been a very good fight for Dillian Whyte. Ortiz and Dillian Whyte fighting in 18, right? That would have been very good. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, everyone else he's fought has been top-notch. You know what I mean? High caliber, Joseph Parker, Lucas Brown. He gave Lucas Brown his first loss. Who else? He got knocked out by Povetkin, but he fought guys like that on that caliber. So he had a very, very good career. So I don't see what David Haye was talking about. You know what I mean? I don't know really where the beef was. Maybe David Haye didn't want to fight Dillian Whyte. Maybe he did see the call outs for Dillian Whyte. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. But guys like Oscar Rivas, Joseph Parker, Lucas Brown. Those type of guys like that, David Allen, you know what I mean? Those guys were on the resume of Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte has a very good resume. So I don't know where he gets that from. But anyway, I would definitely disagree. But as far as Dillian Whyte's claim that David Haye is the biggest bully in boxing, I really don't see that. Maybe he was referring to him at cruiserweight, trying to fight at light heavy or whatnot, because he was a cruiser and a cruiserweight then a heavyweight. So maybe it had something to do with the fighters that he fought then. But then there's nothing that really sticks out to me on David Haye's resume that made me think that he's a bully. I think he needs to elaborate more on that than anything else, because he fought Arthur Spilka. He beat Arthur Spilka. He beat David Price. He beat Carlos Takam. So now let me see here. That's not even David Haye's. This thing is so confusing at times. Hold on a second. Let me go back in time. There we go. Now let's look at David Haye's record, right? David Haye, his boxing record, his claim to fame. He beat Derek Chisora himself. He lost to Vladimir Klitschko, right? He lost to Carl Thompson. Okay. But I mean, other than that, David Haye, he fought a lot of cruiserweights. That's why I'm not really familiar. John Ruiz, he beat John Ruiz. Monty Barrett. Those are some pretty decent guys. But other than that, the rest of these guys were cruiserweights. So, but for calling him a weight bully, or sorry, not a weight bully, just a bully, I don't see where that comes from. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of David Haye or Dillian Whyte saying that David Haye is the biggest bully in boxing. Someone leave comments below to explain this matter if you can. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.